Good morning all. Today we are going to discuss about patella, also known as the kneecap. It is the largest sesamoid bone. It is seen in the tendon of quadriceps femoris muscle as it passes in front of the knee joint. So the patella is shaped somewhat like a disc. It is roughly triangular in shape. It has rough anterior surface, as you can see, and articular posterior surface. So these surfaces, they are separated by three borders. One is the superior border, the other is the medial border, then the lateral border. So the superior border, also known as the base, the inferior part of the bone, it shows a downward projection. So this is known as the apex of the patella. So anterior surface is rough. It can be felt through the overlying skin. The upper part of the posterior surface, it is articular. So this part articulates with the patellar surface and the anterior surface of the condyles of the femur. So this part articulates with the patellar surface and the anterior surface of the condyles of the femur. Then coming to the attachments of the patella, the superior border gives attachment to the rectus femoris and to the vastae muscles. The apex gives attachment to the ligamentum patellae. The medial margin or the medial border gives attachment to the medial patellar retinaculum. So what is medial patellar retinaculum? It is an extension or the expansion from the tendon of the vastus medialis muscle. Then the lateral border gives attachment to the lateral patellar retinaculum, which is an expansion from the tendon of vastus lateralis. Okay. Now, how do you determine the side of the patella? So the rough anterior surface, it should face forward and the narrow apex should face downwards. So when you hold in anatomical position, look at the anterior surface, which is rough, it should face forwards, and narrow projection should face the downwards. Okay, so that is your apex of the patella. The larger lateral articular area, as you can see here, on the posterior surface, it determines the side of the bone. So when it is kept on the flat surface with the articular surface downwards, the bone stands on the lateral larger articular area. Okay, so this is the side determination of the patella. Coming to the ossification of the patella, patella ossifies from several centers that appears between 3rd to 6th year of life. So 3 to 6 years of life. So these centers, they fuse with one another. Let us see the attachments. Superiorly, we can see the attachment of quadriceps tendon, and to the medial border we can see the attachment of medial patellofemoral ligament and medial patellotibial ligament, and to the lateral border there is an attachment of the lateral patellofemoral ligament and lateral patellotibial ligament. and lower part of the apex gives attachment to the patellar ligament. So these are the attachments. So the superior border gives attachment to, we say, the rectus femoris and to the vastae muscles. They together form the quadriceps tendon. The apex gives attachment to the ligamentum patellae or the patellar ligament. The medial border gives attachment to the medial patellar retinaculum, which is an expansion of vastus medialis, and lateral margin gives attachment to the lateral patellar retinaculum, which is an expansion of tendon of vastus lateralis. Okay, so these are the attachments of the patella. Now clinical application. So we can see the fracture of the patella. Patella can be fractured by direct injury. So the patella can also be fractured by sudden violent contraction of the quadriceps femoris. So patella can be fractured by direct injury or sudden contraction of the quadriceps femoris. So as in case of a person trying to protect himself during a fall. So in such cases the fracture is usually a clean cut. Okay, so the sudden contraction of the quadriceps, it can sometimes, it causes the avulsion of ligamentum patellae from the tibial tuberosity. Okay, let us discuss about the tarsal bones. The skeleton of the foot, it is, if you see from the above, or the dorsal aspect of the foot, it consists of tarsal bones in the posterior half. The tarsal bones are 7 in number, and anterior part of the foot is made up of 5 metatarsal bones. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 metatarsals. And distal to the metatarsal bones there are 3 phalanges. 1, 2 and 3. 3 phalanges, except for the great toe, which has only 2 phalanges. This one and this one. The proximal and the distal phalanges. Okay. So this is the skeleton of the foot. Today we will be discussing in detail about the tarsal bones. Okay. The dorsal view at the top of the foot. This is in case of the right foot. So the posterior half of the dorsum of the foot, it is made up of 7 tarsal bones. The largest tarsal bone is the calcaneus. As you can see here, this is the largest tarsal bone. It is the bone which forms the heel. Okay. Now above the calcaneus there is another large bone, is known as the talus. So the talus articulates with the lower ends of the tibia and fibula to form an ankle joint, so also known as the ankle bone. So the talus articulates with the lower ends of the tibia and fibula to form ankle joint. Then anterior to the calcaneus and the talus there are 2 bones. These are navicular and cuboid. Okay, the navicular and the cuboid bone. So we say intermediate bones, we say, the navicular and the cuboid. Now distal to the navicular, there are three smaller bones. These are medial cuneiform and intermediate cuneiform and lateral cuneiform. Okay, so three cuneiforms we have: one navicular, one cuboid, one talus, and one calcaneum. Okay, so these are the tarsal bones, okay, present at the posterior half of the foot. Okay, now let us discuss in detail about the individual tarsal bones. Let us discuss about the calcaneus bone. If you see the shape of the calcaneus bone, it is elongated antero-posteriorly. Side determination of the calcaneus. The anterior aspect of the calcaneus, it is easily distinguished from the posterior aspect as it is covered by a large articular surface or the large articular facet, while the posterior aspect is non-articular. Okay, so this is the posterior part or the posterior aspect, and this is the anterior aspect where it is having articular facet, so that we can keep the we can see these two features and we can keep in anatomical position. So the superior aspect can be distinguished from the inferior aspect as it bears three facets. So while the inferior aspect of the bone is non-articular, so this is the inferior aspect where you don't find any the articular facets, whereas the superior aspect is having three articular facets. Then surfaces and relations. The anterior surface, if you see the anterior surface, it is covered with large articular facet for the cuboid bone. Okay, articular surface for the cuboid bone, whereas the posterior surface, it is non-articular and divisible into upper, middle and lower parts. Upper, middle are the inferior parts. Okay, the lateral surface, if you see, it is flat. The lateral surface, I will show you in the next slide clearly. The lateral surface is flat. Its anterior part shows a small elevation which is known as peroneal trochlea or the tubercle. Okay, so we can see here a fibular trochlea or peroneal trochlea is one and the same. So this is the lateral surface. So lateral surface is more or less flat. Its anterior part shows a small elevation which is known as the peroneal trochlea, or we can say fibular trochlea or the tubercle. Medial surface, this is the medial surface. It can be easily distinguished as it bears a large projection. So this projection is known as the sustentaculum tali. The sustentaculum tali. It is on the medial surface. So it projects medially. The inferior aspect of the sustentaculum tali, it is marked by a groove. It is marked by a groove. So that you should remember that the medial surface is having a projection which is known as the sustentaculum tali, whereas the lateral surface is having an elevation which is known as the fibular trochlea or the peroneal trochlea. Superior or the dorsal surface, we say this is the superior surface. This is also the superior surface. It bears three facets: anterior facet, middle facet, and the posterior. Anterior, middle, and the posterior. So they articulate with the corresponding facets of the talus. Okay, that you should remember. So we say middle anterior talar articular surface, middle talar articular surface, and posterior talar articular surface. So three facets, anterior, middle, posterior, they articulate with the corresponding facets of the talus. The middle facet, it lies on the upper surface of the sustentaculum tali. So it is separated from the posterior facet by a deep groove. This is the deep groove which is known as the sulcus calcaneae or the calcaneal sulcus. Okay. Then the inferior surface or the plantar surface, it shows a prominence which is known as the calcaneal tuberosity. So the lateral and medial parts of the calcaneal tuberosity extends further forward and they are known as the lateral and medial processes. So what you should remember about calcaneal tuberosity, it is present on the we say plantar surface, the lateral and medial parts of the tuberosity, they extend as lateral and medial processes. The anterior surface of the anterior part of the plantar surface or the inferior surface shows another elevation which is known as the anterior tubercle. Okay, anterior tubercle. So that is about inferior surface. So usually we say that in the posterior part of the inferior surface we have the calcaneal tuberosity which extends as lateral and medial processes. Okay, and anterior part is having calcaneal tubercle. So these are about these are the surfaces of the calcaneus. Okay, anterior surface, the posterior surface, this is the anterior surface, this is the posterior surface, then this is the lateral surface where you have fibula trochlea, and this is the medial surface where you have sustentaculum tali, and where you have the superior or the dorsal surface where you have three facets for the talus. Then you have inferior surface where you have the calcaneal tuberosity. So in this slide we can make out the two surfaces. The lateral surface showing the peroneal tubercle or the peroneal trochlea or the fibula trochlea. These are the lateral processes and medial processes of the calcaneal tuberosity. In the inferior surface we can make out. Then on the medial surface we can make out one prominent projection, that is sustentaculum tali. Okay, so this is how we distinguish the medial and the lateral surface. Then we will move on to the attachments of the calcaneus. Let us discuss the attachments of the calcaneus. Muscle arising from the calcaneus, we have the extensor digitorum brevis. Extensor digitorum brevis arises from the calcaneus, that is from the anterior part of the calcaneus. Then we have the origin of flexor digitorum brevis. Flexor digitorum brevis, it arises from the medial process of the calcaneus. Then flexor digitorum accessorius, one more muscle we have, so it arises from the lateral process of the calcaneus. Then abductor hallucis. Abductor hallucis it arises from the calcaneal tuberosity of the calcaneum. Then we have abductor digiti minimi. So it arises from both the processes, both the lateral and medial processes of the calcaneum. So insertion also, you can see that the gastrocnemius, plantaris and soleus, they get inserted to the middle part of the posterior surface by the tendocalcaneus. Okay, and tibialis posterior, there is a muscle which is not shown here. It is inserted into the sustentaculum tali. So these are the muscles which are getting originated and inserting into the calcaneus. Let us discuss about the talus. The shape of the talus is elongated from antero-posteriorly. The anterior end are the head. So this is the head of the talus. Can be distinguished from the posterior end as it is rounded and has a large convex articular surface. So head is rounded and it is having a large convex articular surface. The superior aspect of the bone, it bears a pulley-shaped surface which is convex upwards. The inferior aspect, it bears 3 facets. The lateral surface, I will be showing you in the next slide. It bears a large triangular facet, while medial surface shows comma-shaped facet. So let us discuss the parts of the talus. It presents head, neck, body. When you view from the above, you can make out this is the head of the talus, and this is the neck of the talus, and this is the body of the talus. The distal surface of the head, it is large and convex. It articulates with the navicular bone. So we say articular surface for the navicular bone. The upper surface of the body, it is covered by a large trochlear articular surface which articulates with the lower end of the tibia. So the upper surface of the body, it is covered by articular surface which articulates with the lower end of the tibia. This surface is convex from anterior to posterior, and it is concave from inside. Lateral surface and the medial surface. The lateral surface, I told you that it bears a large triangular facet, while medial surface, it bears a comma-shaped surface. The lateral surface, this triangular facet, it articulates with the lateral malleolus of the fibula. So medial surface, it bears a comma-shaped facet that is broad anteriorly. This facet articulates with the medial malleolus. Of the tibia. So this is the comma-shaped articular facet on the medial surface of the talus, which articulates with the medial malleolus of the tibia, whereas on the lateral surface, this facet, it articulates to the lateral malleolus of the fibula. The lower and posterior part of the body of the talus, it projects backwards. So the projection is called posterior process, we say. So this is the posterior process we can make out here. The posterior process is actually the lower and posterior part of the body of the talus which is projecting backwards. A groove divides this process into medial and lateral tubercles, into medial and lateral tubercles, which is not shown here. So these are the features of the talus bone. So these are the features in the upper surface, we can say, and when you view the talus from below, we see that there is a articular area on the head of the this is actually for the head of the talus. We have articular facet for the navicular bone, which extends on the inferior aspect of the head. So behind this, actually there are three facets: anterior, middle and posterior, so which articulate with the corresponding parts of the calcaneum. So we have discussed the upper surface of the calcaneum. We have three facets. They articulate with the corresponding facets which are present on the inferior aspect of the talus. The middle and posterior facets are separated by a deep groove which is known as the sulcus talli. So this is actually the sulcus talli. So this is the medial facet. So the middle and the posterior facets, they are separated by a groove which is known as, so this is the middle facet and this is the posterior facet. They are separated by a groove which is known as the sulcus talli. So these are the features of the inferior surface of the talus bone. So there are no muscles attached to the talus. Okay, only we have articulations, different articulations here. It articulates with the navicular bone, it articulates with the lower end of the tibia, and it articulates with the lower end of the fibula, right? So, and there are some ligamentous attachments we have. So like anterior and posterior talofibular ligaments, that is on the lateral side of the talus, and anterior and posterior tibio-talar ligaments on the medial side of the talus. So, but there are no muscles attached to the talus. Only we can see the bony articulations and some ligaments which are attached to the talus bone. About the remaining tarsal bones we will continue in the next class. Thank you very much.